Welcome to Porch Play Chats, sponsored by the American Association for the Child's Right to Play, or more affectionately called IPA-USA. IPA-USA is the USA affiliate of the International Play Association, and as part of our efforts to support play, we've introduced Porch Play Chats, and these are just conversations with people who are just as passionate about play as we are. I'm Deb Lawrence, and I'm president of IPA-USA, and with me on the porch is Juelie Perry. Hi, Julie.
Hi, everybody.
Julie is an extraordinary speaker with almost 4 decades. She's just a child, almost 4 decades dedicated to early childhood education, who seamlessly blends her extensive experience with cutting-edge research in her presentations and training sessions. With humor and playfulness, she connects deeply with her audience, striking a perfect balance between warmth and expertise. Her infectious enthusiasm embodies her commitment to inspiring minds to develop and to impact our world, and empowering participants to create action plans for professional development. So Julie today is in this beautiful setting in Florida, and she's going to talk to us about, but I'm not creative, finding personal creativity through adult play. And Julie, before you get started, I would have to tell you that I would say I am not creative.
You are the most perfect person to talk to today, then. I'm
There you
excited.
go. I know. You know, I would say, oh no, not me. I'm not creative. So let's go. Talk to us about that, because I think it's
So
fascinating.
it is fascinating. And I think, so let me just tell you, Deb, you've been lied to. You've
Oh no.
accepted a lie. And there's no joy in living in lies. There's no contentment. There's no peace when you live in a lie. So let's take a step back and let's talk about why I believe you have been lied to with this idea of that you are not creative. And that is to look at a very, very foundational understanding of what is creativity. What does that look like? What does that even mean? Oh, I'm not creative. So I'm not going to give you the answer yet, Deb. I want you to just really quickly, very, very briefly, what is creativity to you? Like, I am not creative means you cannot do what?
Oh, I can't draw. I can't paint. I can't do any of those artsy things that
Aha,
we were supposed
bingo,
to do. Yeah.
exactly. So you have taken the niche of art, the very small piece of creativity, and you have attached yourself to the lie of I can't do that. So
Mm-hmm.
may I ask, Deb, you are a powerful player. You love to play. You're an advocate for play. What
Mm-hmm.
is something you like to play with? What do you do as a hobby? What's fun for you?
Oh, my husband and I, we play board games.
All right. And do you play any challenging board games? Like you have to think of like problem solving, like Risk
Oh,
or planning, or maybe it's a trivia game. Okay.
oh yeah, they're not Monopoly. They're
Right.
like
Okay.
Settlers of Catan and
Right.
Ticket to
Right. Right.
Ride, and
Okay.
the ones that
And
people
so
might.
you, my dear, have to be creative in your problem solving ability to get to the objective to the game and then win the game.
That's
Right. And so
exactly
you're
right.
forever thinking about how am I going to do this to get to that? Now, the fun part about this is that you freely choose to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
You freely enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
You find enjoyment in the process of the game, aka you enjoy playing the game. Within
Mm-hmm.
the constructs of that play is your ability to be creative in it. And let me step back a bit by saying that creativity is taking something and developing into something novel, something new, something personal to you. And so when we talk about art, such as sculpting, drawing, maybe drama, music, we think that art is the creativity of life. But might I encourage your brain to expand on that? That is all technology a form of creativity. We used to ride horseback. That was our transportation. When somebody got creative and made a cart, something with wheels on it, And then we transformed that into a vehicle, a car. And then that was created, it was creatively transformed into airplanes and boats and hot air balloons. And see, creativity means I'm going to find something I'm desperately passionate about learning about. I find enjoyment. I choose it. I get to play with it. I get to manipulate the idea of it. I'm creating something new that may benefit somebody, but may not. It might just benefit you, just win your game with your husband.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hear, especially from early childhood teachers and generally adults, saying, but I'm not creative.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to take a step back and say, you have been created by a grand creator with the ability to create. You've been created by a creator to create. So everybody's creative. Now, what does that mean as an adult? How do I find creativity in my everyday? How do I play with creativity? Part of that is looking at what you love to do. I love to create with my cooking. Are you a good cook, Deb? Do you
I'm
love
a
to
good cook. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So are you a meals cooker or are you a baker desserts cooker?
Oh no, I'm a meal cooker.
Okay. And so what's one of your favorite, like, do you breakfast, lunch, or dinner? What's your genre? What do you love?
Probably dinner.
Okay. And why does that get you excited? Like, what do you do that you're like, get me in the kitchen and I want to do this?
So I am creative with the recipe.
There you go. So do you follow it by the measure? Teaspoon by teaspoon? No. What do you do?
Absolutely not. Well, it calls for this, but I think I'll change it to this, right?
Okay.
So I switch ingredients around, and sometimes I add to, and sometimes I take away from.
Okay. And do we do that in art or sculpting or drama or music? We add or adapt things to a screenplay, to a painting, or we take it away with an absence of. So you are creative in your cooking by your own admission. You are creative in the fun games that you play with your husband by your own admission. And might I encourage those that listen today that you too are creative. And it's taking a step back and reminding ourselves that we've been lied to, that we've accepted the lie that we're not creative. And once you rip that dark veil that's been placed over our eyes of I'm not good enough, right? And I'm not creative enough, then it allows you the freedom. Look where I'm at. Is this not freedom? This is visual, spatial freedom to allow my mind to play. So I chose the outside today because I think we all resonate with a grounding effect. We know that when children get outside, they're at their best. They want to run, and like we don't have to tell them generally how to behave outside. They want to be barefoot, they want to run, they want to jump, they want to climb, they want to grab all of these. Right now, it's in Florida. Let me just tell you, in Florida, I'm going to move here because I got to show you something. In Florida, it's the fall. Okay, it's in February, almost March, but if you can see, our trees don't have a whole lot of leaves because it's fall time. So guess what? In Florida, I can reach down and grab a hold of leaves in February. Now, I could be creative with these leaves. I could throw them in the air. Now we don't have enough leaves to run and jump here, but I could open up a creative opportunity in this environment to test myself. Could I climb this tree? Well, I'm 56. I don't think I have any business climbing this tree, but I can find sticks and I can find leaves and I can use my natural environment as an adult to remind myself that this is a bigger world than I give it credit for. And I can enjoy the creativity in exploring my natural surroundings. So I have this great stick. Now, if I'm sure you and many listeners, when you give Christmas gifts, what's
the I lost you. Come back.
Paper.
Oh, wrapping paper. Got it. I heard you.
Wrapping paper, the box, tape at Christmas. If you go outside, they will tend to gravitate towards natural things. And we
Mm-hmm.
as adults go, thank God they're playing, and then we back off. Might I encourage us today to enter in this beautiful space? And if you're in the snow, it's just as beautiful. It's just a
Just as
different
beautiful.
beautiful. It's just as
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. But to remind yourself that within the creativity by which we stand, that you are a creative being to create. And we do that through play. And we do that through the exploration of our environment about what interests us. All right, what else do you think you're creative in, Deb? Now
Oh.
that you know that you're creative, we
Mm.
ripped off the band-aid of lie.
Mm-hmm.
What are you creative in? What do you
Mm. So I think I'm creative in designing curriculum for college students.
Oh, you and I need to talk about that. That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Now that tends to pull it in a little tighter because there has to be a means to the end. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
still very valid because we can take textbooks as a college professor, we take textbooks and we kind of just go through the textbooks and we
Yeah.
just want them to follow it.
Yeah.
But if we are educators and passionate players and we want
Mm-hmm.
our adults to play, you have to kind of take the text and play with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
name
And add
name
to it,
something you manipulate.
right?
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
manipulate with that? What do you do?
Oh, so many different things. So in I never do the PowerPoints that are in the textbook,
Right.
that come with the curriculum, right? So I know,
Ooh,
so boring. And they're reading the textbook. So we just build on what it is they read and then
mm-hmm,
apply it in the classroom. So,
mm-hmm.
we were talking about, so we'll just do this one that we did this week. So in child development, we are doing the prenatal period and teratogens, right? In child development.
Yeah.
That's where we are in the semester. And so in the classroom, after we got done, and I did my brain workshop too. So we took what they were reading in the textbook, added additional information, and then we played with it. So on Tuesday, um, we gave birth to a ping pong ball. So we went through the
Oh,
stages of delivery, right? Yeah. So
yes, yes.
because we've been pregnant and now we're getting ready to deliver this baby. So we went through the stages of delivery and then they gave birth to ping pong balls. And the kids were creative because they said, oh, well, first, there's lots of screaming and, it's fun. They have a great time. But then
Sure.
once they were successful, they say, I want to do it again. I said, of course you could do it again. And then someone else said, I want to try to have twins. And so putting two ping pong balls into a balloon and blowing it
Ooh.
up. And then someone else said, okay, I could deliver twins. And these were the two boys in the classroom, which was even more funny. I want to have triplets. And so then they got three ping pong balls and a balloon, and that was successful. And then everybody would say, oh my God, more than one baby comes out, like, right, boom, boom, like that. And the first one was so hard. And I said, well, guess what happens when you have more children? And
Yes, yes.
then we tried four ping pong balls and we had quadruplets.
Oh my gosh.
So that was
Exactly. It's
great
taking
fun.
something it's taking something that's kind of existing and creating a new novel opportunity. You're
Mhm.
creating that. And so creativity, there's a fantastic video on killing creativity by Sir Ken Robinson. It's a
Oh, I
TED talk
love
from
him.
years ago, but
Yes.
it that specific TED talk is what kind of caught my fire. And then as a member of the Florida Play chapter of Florida AEYC, uh, and I'm one of the co-facilitators of the Play chapter. And the whole idea is to remind people to play, specifically adults. And
Uh-huh.
here's my thing: if adults don't play, your kids aren't gonna see the joy in playing, or
Mhm.
they'll lose it quickly. They don't see the buy-in. And I'll give you a prime example. I had a Zoom call with another one of your people that are going to be doing a podcast soon, Carly Bedard.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
right, so her and I we had a Zoom call, and we were doing an online virtual play experience. So it's adults playing, Well, it happened to be a night where my 10-year-old decided to join us. Now, my 10-year-old has decided to grow up in my crazy life of open-ended play or loose parts play. So my
Mm-hmm.
entire garage looks like a recycling center. And
Uh-huh.
so since she was as young as 18 months, she would go into the garage and capture items. And from these items, she would then create whatever. So she says, "Can I play with you guys?" And I thought, well, it's an adult play experience. Do I tell the 10-year-old she's not allowed to play with the adults? And I
No.
thought, nope, come on along. So we had about 12 minutes of solitary, quiet, independent playtime. And that
Mm-hmm.
10-year-old at 8 o'clock at night sat on the sofa with me. We did a parallel play experience, and she was quiet, no TV, no music, and she engaged with these loose parts. It was something brand new. I had just got these items, so she had never explored them. And I had never explored them. And the two of us, for 12 minutes, were able to manipulate and touch and visually organize all of these loose parts. And then to come into some creation. And I had had a hellacious week. I don't know if anybody else has had a hellacious week, but that 12 minutes was the best 12 minutes of my entire week because I got to choose the materials. I got to play. I got to unload and download into these new objects to then manipulate and create something. Now, did I create anything specific? I did because I'm an adult and we always need a finished product, right? Children will just play for the sake of playing. But we tend to always want that. I got to have it done. And so I ended up creating a hot air balloon out of these straws and connectors.
Oh,
And if
fun.
anybody, yeah, so if anybody wants to see my balloon, you can email me at info@inspired impact at gmail. But anyway, it was super fun. And then Maya says, "Can I show your friends what I was working on?" Which I thought was very brave for a 10-year-old to feel empowered to share with adults without the fear of ridicule or judgment or
Mm-hmm.
doing something wrong. So I turned the camera onto her, and there she was able to show the process of getting into what she had created. And what I loved was her explanation of, well, first I did this, and then I did this that led me to this idea. She verbally explained her entire process of the play experience to these amazing adults who were welcoming and kind and generous. And it reminded adults, it was this symbiotic relationship of reminding adults that that is play and that that's
Yes.
creativity, right? It doesn't have to be an end result. We can just play for the sake of playing and to create. And here's the thing, my hot air balloon would not stay together. Deb, I was frustrated. Did you ever cook something and it just didn't work?
Oh, yes. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
frustrating.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to call for pizza because whatever I made was, now my family's like, "Listen, we'll eat this." And I said, "I won't eat this." I don't like it. So we're ordering pizza. Or maybe you lost a game because all of your creative problem solving and you still didn't win, but you still had a good
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Sometimes it
so
just doesn't work out.
and you know what? It's okay because
It's okay.
the light bulb wasn't invented in the first try or 100
That's,
tries or 1,000 tries.
mm-hmm.
The cars, I mean, I look at this Cybertruck, which is not my jam. Like, it's just not my thing. But the ingenuity and the creativity of taking what we once knew could be possible into the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
that is the joy of playing with the creative mind that we've been given. And so
I,
as adults, we need to do that.
I always go back to the first play experience I ever had with at NAYC with Walter,
Yep.
um, and several others that were the facilitators, and how I looked at this pile of materials and felt so intimidated. I mean, I
Yep.
chose them, but I felt so intimidated, and I kept looking around to see what other people were doing or if anyone was staring at me, right? Because
Exactly. Yes,
and
yes,
this
yes.
was, yeah, like 20, this is like decades ago, right? Decades. And and once I figured out that no one was paying any attention, so I needed to do something, because apparently they wanted us to do something with each of the materials that were on the floor. I, started to fiddle with them. And then I went, oh, and then, oh, it's that one's sticking together, but why isn't this one? And I then went away. I was just so immersed in exploring those materials
You're
that
transported.
yes, you are absolutely. And when Walter was talking about that, I had always been a play person, but because I played my entire childhood, but that experience helped me recognize how some adults, me included, felt uncomfortable. Yeah, when you were given something that you weren't familiar with and you didn't know what to do with it, right? So that and so there are times in the classroom when we play in the classroom to have them apply what they've been learning, right? So there are times when I give them materials that they're not comfortable with, that are not the blocks in the classroom, or are not the Lego, or whatever else is typical. And I give
typical toys.
Yes, and I give them sticks, and I give them wine corks, and I give them seashells, and I give them, as choices, and then they wherever they choose to go. But it is interesting how some of them, I can see what they're going through in their heads. They're like, what the heck am I supposed to do with this? Right? I don't know what to do with it. I put on very calm music.
And I've had my college students, very similar to what you're saying, Deb. I had a gentleman in my class, and I was a unit on play, and I said, I'm not reading a textbook on this. This is ridiculous. We've got to actually get them on the floor. And so I always make accommodations, either floor, table, whatever height they need. And I had this young man in his early 20s, and he was one of our underserved populations that had been joining our college, and not afforded those opportunities in his youth. And he chose the rocks, right? Because rocks there are organic light. They're within the scheme of our pretty much daily life, city or urban or suburban or rural. And he sat on those rocks, and for a good 8 minutes, I watched that poor boy squirm, waiting for somebody to tell him what to do. Giving more instructions, giving him specific guidelines. And in those cases, I will offer prompting, right? Because I've been stuck making food and going, I need to call my mother-in-law because I need something else. Like I'm this. So it's okay to ask for help in that process. And I went up and I said, what are you struggling with, kiddo? I call him kiddo. I call everybody under my age kiddo. And I said, what are you struggling with, kiddo? And he says, what am I supposed to do with these? And I said, well, what did you do with rocks when you were a kid? He says, well, I would huck them, and huck them for him to throw. And I said, well, I see that that's your history. And what can we do now? You can't throw them in this room. It's not a safe space. And he's 20, so he knew that. I said, but let's use that we're going to do that scaffolding, right? That's the schema. What are you going to use that rock? You want to throw it because that's what you know, but what can you do with it to make that happen? And that little bit of a prompting allowed him to then create circles of rock. And he would take one rock and he would try to toss it into the circle of these rocks. And while that's another means to an end, right, which is fine, it was the process of getting past the lie of you're not creative. Right. Of getting past you're not good enough to create something. I'm not talented, I'm not smart, I'm not rich, I'm not whatever the lie of self-worth or shame or whatever it is that blocks us, that healing effect of play shines through those objects when you're given that guidance, when you're given that time to facilitate play. And so that's really what I wanted to share with people today is don't accept the lie that you're not creative. Because you got dressed today and you put your own flair of fancy or not, and you created something to eat today, and you problem solved your way through the day to day, and you are a creative spirit created by a creator to be creative.
There you go.
So that's my encouragement for our friends.
Just beautiful, because I think that because when we were in art, right, and the teacher said you're going to pick this up and you're going to do this and this and this and this, and it didn't look anything like the one she showed us.
Yes.
Especially me, I would feel like, oh my goodness, I'm just not good at this, and I don't want to be good at this because I don't feel successful at this. So, so
bam, nailed it.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to tell you one quick story, real quick story, and it just piggybacks. That's why I'm jumping in. It piggybacks. I was in 3rd grade. I was in Massachusetts, and my cousin and I were in the same elementary school. And my cousin always was a little bit better at the graphic design. I'm a scribble scrabbler, like me and stick people, like we're relatives. My cousin is definitely more affluent in that. And I remember, I'll never forget this teacher's name, Mrs. Goddard. And she came, a little tiny lady, and she came up to me, and I had painted my snowman purple. Why? Because I'm a right brain ADHD crazy learner, and that's just who I am. And I remember her correcting me negatively and said, I'll never forget this day. She said to me, you need to paint your snowman white. She emphasized that proper grammatical WH. You need to paint your snowman white. Wait, if that was not demeaning enough, she says, why can't you be more like your cousin? See how she draws? And do you know what? That was the last time I drew anything. And there's research that now shows that wherever where the
you froze again.
Was kind of where you stop development. So if you look at any of my artwork now, it stopped at 3rd, 4th grade.
Yeah.
It stopped there. Same with music or problem solving. And so I agree with you 100% that we've been lied to, and we've accepted somebody else's stamp of approval was on us.
And I did not know that research, that when you have that that's really, I want you to send me that if you can find it again.
Okay, I'll find it. Yeah, I will.
Because I think that is such a powerful message, that when we do this to kids, this is when they stop developing that particular skill or talent that they could have had in their potential. Oh my goodness. Wow.
It could have been a potential. And so if you're a teacher and you're joining us in this beautiful porch chat today, let me remind you, you're powerful in that classroom, and that your words mean everything. And when we talk about effective praise with an A, and we're not just saying, that's a great job, you used blue, good for you. And while that's beneficial at a finite level, at this this foundational level, that opportunity to say, you freely chose that blue color, and look how hard you pushed on that, and that came out so amazing. What else do you think you might want to add? Or maybe are you done? But just remember that it's about the process, not the product. When I teach college, it's the process, not the product. I made a crappy batch of chocolate chip cookies the other day, and my son is like, Mom, what happened in the process? I said, I melted the butter too much. And he goes, I think you need to try it again because these are awful. But I'm older and wiser now. I'll make the next batch of cookies,
Yeah, right. Yeah. And you don't feel like you're a failure. You're just going to say, now I'm determined to do it better, right?
Right. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. And that's what happens when you build that resilience in, which sometimes is also missing in a classroom of young children. Julie, stay right there while I close this out. Hang in. So to learn more about IPA-USA, please visit our website at IPA-USA.org. Up in that top right-hand corner, you can click on Spotify. It's free to you, and that's where Porch Play Chats are being uploaded. And there's several already there. You can click on YouTube channel and follow us, and every Monday morning, a new Porch Play Chat will appear in your feed. You can click on Instagram, and I don't know what we do with Instagram, but you do something with Instagram, and then you can click on Facebook and be a friend. So it's all up there in that top right hand corner. Julie, thank you so much for a fabulous Porch Play Chat. Until next time, everyone, keep on playing.
Bye, guys.